back to a new episode of Android tutorial. In today's episode, we are going to learn about how to create an Android list view with some custom background. So, if you if you display some rows and columns in a list view, then definitely you need to go for your own layout for the list view background. So here in this episode I am going to demonstrate how to create an Android list view with some custom background. That means each row in that particular list view using a separate layout. So in this project, in this Android application, I will show you how to create an Android list view that containing three columns. The first columns display some images, and the second and third columns containing some text values. So I use these images on the first column of the list view, and on the second column I use the name of these fruits, and on the third column I am going to display the quantity needed for these fruits. That means how many kilograms we want each of these fruits. That is our target. So we have to create an Android application that containing a list view that has three columns. The first column is an image view, second column is a text view, again the final column is also a text view. So we have to create separate layout for each row in that list view. So in Eclipse already I create a project named custom list view demo. So our first step is to add a list view to the activity main.xml file. That is our first step. So here I am going to add a list view to the activity main.xml file. So we don't need the text view. So there are a lot of unwanted steps are there. I remove all these. Okay, now here the width of this relative layout is match parent. I change it into fill parent. And height is match parent, that's fine. Okay, now here I am going to add a list view to this relative layout. So add a new list view. First I have to provide an ID for this list view. So Android ID equal to plus ID. I name it as main list view. I name this as main list view. Okay, now we have to set the layout for this list view. We have to set the height, width of this list view. So now I am going to set the layout for this list view. Okay, I set the layout for the list view. I set the layout width into match parent, height into match parent, and set 0 dp for margin bottom also, and 0 dp for margin top. Okay, that's fine. Okay, one more thing you need to add: Android orientation equal to vertical. Just add an orientation for the list view and change it into vertical. Okay, so now we add a list view to the activity main.xml file. So now we have to create a separate layout for individual rows on this list view. So we have to add a new layout for the individual rows for this list view. So go to the layout folder, right click that folder, and create a new Android XML file. I name the file as raw layout. I name the file as raw layout and click finish. Now go to the XML version. It is relative layout. We need relative layout. So I change the layout into relative layout. Also close that layout. Okay, just create a layout. It is relative layout with width is much parent, height is much parent. We have to change the width into fill parent. So instead of much parent, I use it as fill parent, and height is also much parent. We need it into fill parent because we need this layout in one row of the list view. So we have to fill the entire parent with this list view, with this relative layout. So here also we need to set the margin top and margin bottom. Okay, now I am going to do that. Okay, change the width into fill parent, height into fill parent. Also set the margin top into 0 dp and margin bottom into 0 dp. Okay, one more thing, you need to add Android focusable in touch mode into true. Okay, so in this layout we need three things. First one is the image view, and second one is a text view, also third one is a text view. So the first one is an image view. So I have to set ID for this image view, Android ID plus ID. I name the ID as fruit img. That is the ID for this image view. Now I set the text view, second text view. Also need an ID for this text view, Android ID equal to plus ID. I name the text view ID as fruit name. Also we need another text view here, and change the ID into fruit quantity qty. Okay, now we need to set the layout for this image view, text view, and the two text views. Okay, now I am going to do that. Okay, I set the layout for the image view and the two text view. The ID is fruit image, and set the width is wrap content, height is wrap content, and set it is center vertical into true, and provide a padding right 10 dp, padding top 10 dp, and padding left is 10 dp, and set the scale type for the image view into center crop. Also for the text view, set the width and height into wrap content, and align this text view to the right of that image view. So use this layout to right of ID of that particular image view, and also set the center vertical into true. Also provide a padding top into 10 dp, and for the final text view, set the width and height into wrap content, and change the layout align parent right into true, and also set the center vertical into true. Also provide padding at top and left to 10 dp. Okay, this text view is appear at the last, so it is not padding left, it is padding right. That is correct, padding right into 10 dp. Okay, now go to the main activity.java file. Here we need an object for the list view. So now I am going to create an object for the list view. So list view, I name it as list view. Okay, and list view equal to find view by id r.id dot our main list. What is the ID of our main list view? It is main list view. That is the ID of the list view, main list view. So this is an object, so we need a casting here. Okay, now we need an array adapter for handling this list view. So we need to create a separate Java class for creating the adapter. So go to the src folder and right click the package and create a new Java class. Okay, here is the name for that adapter. I name the adapter as fruit adapter. I name the adapter as fruit adapter and click finish. Now we got a new class called the fruit adapter, and I make the class child of array adapter. No need of these parameters. Okay, just create a class called the fruit adapter, and that extends the class called array adapter. So we need a constructor for this class, so I create a constructor here. That constructor has two arguments. First one is the context object and second one is the resource id. It is of integer type. Okay, and in that constructor we call the super method. Okay, so now go to the main activity.java file. So now we have to create an object for that particular array adapter. So I create an object for it, fruit adapter equal to new fruit adapter. So the first one is the application, is the context object. So I provide the context object as application context, and second one is the resource id. So here we are going to pass the resource id of that particular raw layout. So that means this file name raw layout.xml. So I pass it r.it dot it's not r.it, it is r.layout dot raw layout. That is the resource id. Okay, now we need to add that images into this project. So I go to that folder that containing that images. I copy all these images, copy it and go to that folder, go to the project, and I paste the images on these folders, drawable folders. I paste the same images on all of these folders. Now that images is available in these folders. Okay, so here I am going to create three variables. First one is an integer array, img resource equal to initialize this integer array with the id of the particular images available in drawable folder. So r dot drawable dot, the first one is we have to check the image names. Okay, I add all the id of the images available in drawable folder into the image resources. So the first image is apple, r.drawable.apple, and banana, cherry, mango, orange, strawberry, and finally tomato. I just add all the images resource id into this integer array called img resource. Okay, now we need to set the name for these images. So create a string array, string name. Okay, name equal to so first I have to display that fruit called apple. So the first image name is apple, and second image is, what is the second image? Second image is banana. So the second image name is banana. Okay, I add all the fruit names into this string array called the name. Look at these orders of this fruit name. I put the first fruit resource is apple, so put the first fruit name is apple, second one is banana, so put the second name is banana, and final one is tomato here, so I put the final fruit name as tomato. Okay, so we need another string array here to save the quantity of these fruits, so create another string array, quantity equal to, and initialize that array using some values. So first one is apple, I need 100 kilogram of apple. Second one is banana, I need 150 kg of banana. Okay, I add the quantity of fruits into this variable called the quantity, and add the quantity for each fruits in this variable, in this string array quantity. Okay, now we need an object that containing, we need an object that is capable of handling one row of that particular list view. So the first row containing an image for apple and its name and its quantity. So we need an object for each of these fruits into individual rows in that particular list view. So that is our next step. For that we need to create another Java class. So on the package, I right click and choose the new Java class option and name the class as fruit class and click finish. Now we got a new class called fruit class, and here I create some values, string fruit resource. First variable is string fruit resource, make it is private, and second one is private string fruit name, final one is private string fruit quantity. Okay, so now we need to set getter and setter for these three variable called fruit resource, fruit name and fruit quantity. So just right click your mouse and choose the source option, and from here you can select the getters and setters method, choose that one. Here you need to specify the variable names. Here we need getter and setter for fruit name, fruit quantity and fruit resource. Okay, also make the access modifier as public and click OK. Now here we got the getter and setter for these three variable called fruit resource, fruit name and fruit quantity. Okay, so now we need a constructor here. Again right click your mouse and choose the source option. From here you can choose constructor using field option, click that one, and I need a constructor with these arguments, fruit resource, fruit name and fruit quantity. Again change access modifier as public and click OK. Okay, now we got a constructor here that has three arguments, fruit resource, name and quantity. Okay, now we need to set the variable set value for the fruit resource, name and quantity. So just call that method this dot set fruit resource and pass the value fruit resource. Second one is this dot set fruit name and pass the value fruit name, pass the argument fruit name. Final one is this dot set fruit quantity and pass the value fruit quantity. Okay, so we just create a class called fruit class that has three variables, fruit resource, fruit name and fruit quantity, and also we create the getter and setter for these three variables, and also we add a constructor to this class, and also we call the setter method of all that three variables in this constructor. Okay, so now go to the main activity.java file So we have to pass this individual row to that particular class. So that is our next step. So I start a for each loop here for string name and use that string array called name. I change the variable into capital name, and here is that string array name. Okay, now I'm going to pass each of these value for name, quantity and resource to that particular constructor. So create an object of that constructor, object of that particular class called fruit class. So fruit class obj equal to new fruit class, and the first one is the fruit resource. You can get the fruit resource from this variable called img resource. So also we need a variable here. I declare a variable with I with the value 0, and first one is the fruit image resource. So img resource of I, so it will pass the 0 index value. And second one is fruit name. We also already get the fruit name in variable name, so use that value name. And final one is fruit quantity. So here I use that string resource called quantity. So quantity of I. Okay, now I increment the value of I by 1, I plus plus. So while iterating this loop, we can pass all these rows. That means for the first apple, it will pass the image resource ID for the image view of apple, and now second provide the name, it is apple, and finally provide the quantity. Again for the next second row, it pass banana and is quantity and is name, and also we pass all the name and quantity and image view resource ID to this particular class. So if there are 10 objects, we create 10 separate objects for that class called fruit class. Okay, now we need to add in these individual objects into that particular array adapter. So we need to add an override method to this array adapter class. So the first override method is the add method. So just create that override method called add. Here we are going to add the object of that fruit class. So it is not an object of object class, so we need to remove the override annotation. So I just remove the override annotation, and we just add that object into the corresponding into the superclass using this add method. Also here I'm going to create a list view, sorry, a list. So create a list here, private list equal to new array list. Okay, provide an object name list. So new array list, just create an array list. There is no need of parameters here. Okay, now I want to add this individual object into this array list also. So here I am going to add the individual object of that fruit class into this array list. So list dot add and pass that object. Okay, now we need another override method called get count. So it will return the count of that particular array list, return uh, this dot list dot size. It will return the size of that particular it will return the size of that list array. It will array list, so that means it will return the number of objects available in that particular array list. Okay, so now we need another override method called get item. This will return individual each object available in that list view. So return this dot list dot get and pass that position, current position. This will return individual object available in that array with this position, with the index. Okay, now go to the main activity.java file. Here we create an object of fruit class corresponding to the number of fruits. If there are 10 fruits are available, we create 10 objects of the fruit class here. Also, now we need to add these individual objects into the array adapter. So that is our next step. So here I am going to add these individual objects into the array fruit, into the fruit adapter class. So using this object adapter dot call that override method called add and pass that object of the fruit class. It is obj. It is not object, it is obj. So when we call this method, these individual objects are passed into the fruit array adapter class and got in this method called add, and we add that individual object into the array list. Also we pass the same object into the super method. Okay, now we are going to create the final override method on this adapter class called getView. So getView, this method will actually return individual row in our list view. So before that we need a static class here. So static I name the class as static img holder. Static class img holder, and here I create some variables, private image view, it is not private image view, just create an object for image view img. So now next one is the text view name. Again, last one is also a text view quantity. Okay, just create a static class called img holder that has three objects: image view, text view, and finally a text view for the quantity. Okay, now go to the view method, getView method. Here we need a lot of stuff here. So first here I have to create an object of view class view. I name the object as raw. Also we need an object of that particular inner class, static class img holder here. So I create that also here, img holder. So img holder, I name it as holder. Okay, so now we have to inflate that individual row. So we need an object of layout inflator first. So layout inflator, I name the object as inflator equal to this dot get context dot get system service and context dot, we need the layout service called layout inflator service. Okay, so using this object you can inflate that particular custom layout into the row. So we need a casting here, so cast it into layout inflator. Now I initialize the object row, view object row equal to inflator dot inflate. First you have to pass the resource, so here the resource is r dot layout dot that row layout. So here is the custom layout id row layout, file name, not id, file name, and pass parent as the root. Also we need a third argument, pass it as false. Okay, so now we get the row using this layout inflator object. Okay, now I am going to initialize this image holder object here. So holder equal to new image holder. Also now I am going to initialize the individual variables available in that class called image holder, that is an image view and two text view. So the first one is img equal to using that view object row dot find view by id r dot id dot, what is that id for the image view? So the id for the image view is fruit img fruit name and fruit quantity. Okay, so go to the fruit adapter. So here the id is fruit img, and second one is name equal to row dot find view by id r dot id dot fruit name, and the final one is fruit quantity. So quantity qty equal to row dot find view by id r dot id dot fruit quantity. These all are objects, so we need to cast it into corresponding object. What is this img? It is not img, it is holder.img. So we need to cast it into image view. It is not single name, it is holder.name, and it is holder.quantity. Also we need to cast it because these are objects, so cast it into corresponding object type. Okay, and finally I have to set this holder into the row. So row dot, there is a method called set tag, and pass the object called holder. Okay, so we have to do all these things if this convert view is null. That means there is no objects are available for that particular row. If there is no objects are available, there is no particular view objects are available for individual row, we have to make all these steps. We have to create an inflator, layout inflator object, and by using that layout inflator object we have to inflate that particular row in that list view, and also we have to get the image, the particular row resources, column resources on that particular layout, and finally we have to add that particular resource into the row using set tag method. We have to done all these things if that particular view object is null. So we have to check it first. if the convert view is null, if convert view equal to null, then we need all these things up to here. If there is already an object is available for that row, then there is no need to create all these steps. And if the particular object is already available, it is in else part. If that particular object for that row is already available, there is nothing to do all these things. We have to just get that object into the holder. So holder equal to row dot, there is a method called get tag. And finally, so here also we need to cast it into object. And finally we have to specify, what is this? Okay, here we got an error. That particular variable row is not initialized yet. Okay, so here first we have to initialize the row object, row equal to convert view. Okay, now we can check now here if the particular object is already available for that row, there is no need to do all this stuff. On the else part, just get that object and assign it into the holder. And finally we have to set the image resources, and finally we have to set the resource for individual columns in the list view. So that is the here we need to do that. So for that we have to initialize that object of fruit class. Okay, now we have to create an object of fruit class, fruit class fr equal to and call that method in this class called get item, get item method. So this will return an object of that fruit class from that list. So I call that method get item and pass the position. Okay, so we can get each object from the list view. Here we need a cast in the fruit class. Okay, so finally we have to assign the resource into the holder. So holder dot set holder dot fruit img dot set. There is a method called set image resource, and the resource is from we can get the resource from that fruit class object. So here the fruit class object is fr dot get, that method called get fruit resource. Now holder dot name dot set text, and here we got that from that getter method called get fruit name. And finally holder quantity. So holder dot quantity dot set text, and we can get it from fr dot get fruit quantity. Okay, finally we have to return the row object. So return, sorry, there is a mistake. This have to be done outside this else loop, okay, and finally we have to return that row object, return row. Okay, now we complete the coding. Now we can check the project. Okay, now I'm going to run the application, run as Android application, and go to the emulator. Okay, we don't get the view correctly, there are some mistakes. So here the list view is created and create the adapter. Okay, we forget something here. We have to add the adapter into the list view. So list view dot set adapter and pass the adapter to this method. Okay, now we can check it again. So run as Android application. Okay, finally we got the correct output. First column containing the images, and second column containing the name of that particular fruit, and final column containing the quantity of that particular fruit. I put all this code into my blog. My blog URL is given under the description of this video. Also, you can download this entire project from my blog. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.